Hey, everybody, welcome back to Between the Lines with Lisa Leslie, presented by State Street Investment Management. The WNBA Finals are set. The Phoenix Mercury, we know, will take on the Las Vegas Aces. But let me just tell y'all, there's so much drama, so much going on before we even get to those two matchups. But before I do anything else, let me just introduce my guest. I'm thrilled to have you. Autumn Johnson is here with me. And if you don't know who Autumn is, well, you need to Google her. But she's a basketball analyst and a sideline reporter for the Atlanta Dream this season. She also covers college basketball. So you guys check out Autumn. But Autumn, welcome to Between the Lines.
Thank you for having me. Perfect timing too, because let me tell you, like the internet was shook yesterday. So I was so excited to hop on this podcast with you.
Having you here is really going to help because there's so much to unfold, but I think we're going to work backwards. The
Okay.
most hot topic right now has been Queen Fee, Napheesa Collier, really just calling the commissioner, Kathy Engelberg, to the carpet, along with the controversy with officiating that's happening, that's been going on all season. We obviously going to break down the basketball game, but let's just get into what Napheesa Collier was talking about.
Yeah.
You have to be up under a rock if you don't know what's happening. But let me give y'all a little bit of context. Fee arrived for her exit interview with a written statement. She spoke for about 4 minutes, and she called out the commissioner and the league leadership for undervaluing the players, ultimately, and finishing with this. We have the best players in the world. We have the best fans in the world. But now we have the worst leadership in the world, quote unquote. Autumn, let me just start with that. What did you think when you heard Fee say these things? What was your reaction?
Yeah, I was shook. I literally stopped everything I was doing to tap into this live interview. I thought this was a very deliberate and also courageous move from Napheesa Collier, one of the best players in the league. I mean, she came fully prepared, walking into that room with a 2-page printed statement that laid everything out. And she directly called out Kathy Engelbert and came with receipts, as you mentioned, some of those statements, but also the lack of leadership and care and accountability when it comes to inconsistent officiating. She talked about the broken rookie scale contract system, the media rights, all allegedly followed by the dismissive comments and stating how these players should be thankful. So those comments alone had me wondering exactly what was going on in the room, wondering when Kathy would also make a response as well, which she eventually did. And she mentioned how she was disheartened by Napheesa, how she characterized their conversation, but didn't deny any of those allegations. So it just had me wondering, like we're not in that room. We don't know exactly what was said on both ends. It makes me wonder where they're at in the CBA. Are the players being heard? As a businesswoman, Napheesa knows the leverage that she holds. She knows the power in her voice, her platform. Her voice carries weight. And we saw just that. This moment could very much be a breaking point, a spark, and some meaningful change. We saw how all the players came out in solidarity for Fee. So I'm excited to see the trajectory from this move in general. But like everyone, I was completely shook by everything.
Yeah, I think it was so much to unpack.
Yeah.
When I heard it, honestly, I started to think about Kathy. And what I thought about most is when it comes to leadership and understanding that you are a leader of women, you're a leader of a business. It's not just about money. It's not just about the accountant, and it's not just about raising money.
Right.
Because when you are a leader of women, you have to understand the level of protection that has to be provided for them. And what do I mean by that? Even how you're communicating with them, who you're communicating about. So the fact that that she took the time to express how she felt players should feel and how they should receive what she's gifted them, which would be the privilege of making more money, having the opportunity to play in this platform. And where she messed up as a leader is that you think you did all of that alone, and you didn't. Because we're actually all connected. We all help build something that these women are building even now today, that these rookies are helping build, that this new class is helping to build. And that is one, fans are first. You have to understand we're nothing without fans. And so to not understand that, that's been a problem for, I think, that Kathy's experience. And then secondly, to not realize that through ownership, there's nothing to own if you don't have players. And so, as a leader, again, you're not listening to your players time and time again. So, therefore, what happens when you don't listen? You lose their trust, and now you've lost their respect. Those are huge mistakes that a leader can make that will forever sink that ship, because now it's going to be tough for them to reckon and believe and trust what Kathy has to say as a leader from this point on. She had already lost it over time. We saw through social media, but you never really heard the players step up and express that the way that Napheesa Collier just did. And I feel like by her calling it to the rug, I started to go like, dang, where did Kathy go wrong? And I'm like, did she play basketball? So I Googled her. I'm like, okay, she used to play a little basketball. She was a walk on. She had some experience, maybe with lacrosse, but she's really been a Fortune 500 businesswoman who knows how to make money, right?
Mm.
Knows how
Yeah.
to bring these corporations together. But sometimes people who work in business don't have good people skills, because
Mm.
people skills and how you inspire people and motivate people is the main thing you have to be able to do. And I then started to think about the commissioner of the NBA, Adam, phenomenal human being who has done such a great job building relationships with individuals. I could call Adam Silver today and he'd be like, Lisa, hi, how are you? How's your husband? And call him by
Yeah.
name. How's your family and kids? Because he's invested not just in the job of making money and bringing people together, but he also has the ability to understand the human element of people as players are also human beings. And I also looked at Deladon's tweet and she was like,
I was
I
going to
don't
mention
even
that.
know if Kathy realized I retired, because I heard from everybody else. That's a
Yeah.
huge fail. So that's telling me, unfortunately, that Kathy, yes, has done, I think, a really good job of helping raise capital, of helping administer in obviously the television deal and all of the things that she's done. But you're only able to do that because of those players that are on the floor, mind you, the product, but you didn't close the gap on the relationship between you as the commissioner and the players. And as long as you feel like in leadership, listen, the wolf is only as strong as the pack, and
Mm.
the pack is only as strong as the wolf. But just know, when the wolf doesn't lead the pack properly, the pack will eat the wolf.
Mm.
And right now, Kathy just put out words that Nafisa took notes on and brought receipts and put out there that she could never get back. And I think her job will forever be in jeopardy. The trust of the WNBA with that particular commissioner, I don't think will last. And that's unfortunate, because I do think there are times where Kathy has done a good job of trying to raise capital, bringing brands together to support women. But at the end of the day, these players have leverage. They have this collective bargaining agreement that's coming right now, and they have social media, which is so powerful. And lastly, you have the fans, and the
Hmm.
fans are supporting the players. And for that, girl, I don't know what's going to
No.
happen with Kathy, but these players are like top tier when it comes to their business, the
Yep.
Players Association, and how they're moving right now. So, Autumn, that was a whole lot, but
No, you hit it on the head, and I think we're not going to hear the end of this either. Like, these are some of the most fearless women when it
mhm,
comes to fighting for change, when it comes to speaking up, when it comes to using their platform. I think we're going to see a lot of these conversations continue to heat up, and you're so right. It comes down to the human element of this.
mhm,
And all of this is truly about value, not just about, money wise, monetary wise, but what the players are worth as people, bettering the product, what they put out on the court, and their betterment off the court, how they're set up for success even when the ball stops rolling,
mhm.
their families who are involved as well. This is something that they have put their all into when it comes to their craft and how they've dedicated their lives to this. How the league treats the very people who make the product is what it is. Lisa, I'm curious, were there ever moments in your career where you felt like things came to a head like this and you guys could come and navigate, use your voices in a sense to address leadership? What did that look like for you and your era?
I feel like for us, yes, we've had some of these issues with the league where we've gone back and forth, but I do feel like we were heard. I felt like our leadership, especially with Val Ackerman, our first president, and there were times, I'm not saying every player liked our president, but we all tried to communicate. privately before going publicly. And I felt like we were being heard. But we also
Yeah.
had Renee Brown, who was, I think, sort of second in command and would communicate with us. She would fly to us, get our input, make sure that we were heard, communicate that to Val, and find a happy medium for us. I feel like Fee is very thorough. She's a businesswoman who's thinking
Yeah.
about what she's talking about, and she's speaking on behalf of the masses of all the players, which is something that we did as players, but we were able to communicate that and we were listened to. And when we felt like we weren't listened to, there were times where all of the players, at least 20 or 30 of us, have flown to New York at times when we were parts of negotiation to communicate directly with our president.
Mm.
So I do love the fact that we had a great line of communication. And when we didn't feel like we were being heard, we were able to we as players got on the same page, all went there to figure out how to solve what our problems were. So I think one of the things that was strong was still leadership. We did value the leaders that we had. We had the backing of the NBA. We had David Stern, who was also 100% supportive of the WNBA and it flourishing, and we felt his support. You
Yeah.
know, we did have a voice. If we voiced things that we didn't like, for the majority of us, I think we were heard, or we found ways to communicate to our presidents, the Players Association, so that we could be heard. And then I think the last thing was like the media. The media was always, yes, we had that opportunity, but you also got to remember in that time, the media was also downing us, talking about we didn't deserve to be there to get
Mm.
back in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So the media was not necessarily a reliable source terms of support.
Mm.
So I think that overall, we had great leadership with Val Ackerman, with some of the presidents that came after her, in ways that I can see now where the distrust has happened with these players, where it's been broken down in a way where that loyalty and that trust is not there. They're not pulling on the same side of the rope. And the
Yeah.
other thing is that the WNBA right now, they don't have those types of relationships where you could call Angel Reese and say, hey, let me talk to you and help you through this moment. Let me help you. Let me fight for you. Let me step in and say, hey, Chicago, what you're doing, that's not right. That's not how you should treat our player. She should
Mhm.
not be suspended because she said something in the media. Like, getting ahead of those things where you have a player and a person who's in office that's protecting these women. Although you may say, hey, yeah, even though we're in negotiation right now, the main thing is still to protect the house. It's just
Yeah.
like children, right? As a mom, I'm not sitting you outside just because you want more money. You're still in my house. I still have
Mhm.
to protect you. I still have to take care of you. And yeah, there may be some differences. And yes, we're going to negotiate that. But at the end of the day, protect the players, hear the players, and they should have a safe place where they can communicate that and it not be social media. And that's another reason why you know you're failing, because the players don't feel like they have your ear. So they're using social media to vent and to share what they're unhappy about. No, we didn't do that back in the day because we didn't have social media, but we had newspapers. We could have gone to the papers about things. But
Yeah.
you know what? We had a Renee Brown. We had a person who'd come, who'd fly to us, who'd sit us down, who'd talk, who'd call us and say, hey, tell me what's going on. Let me get that message back to Val. How can we help fix this? How can we work on this? Okay, we're here, you guys. Let us have a meeting. We'd have a private meeting.
Mhm.
So those types of things are in house. You don't want everybody exposed to everything that's going on in the house. But guess where we are? We're in a place where loyalty and trust has been lost. And so
Yeah.
what happens? All information is in the streets right now. It's in the streets. And right now, the players have something that's really special. You know what that is? Unrivaled.
Yeah. Literally, as
Excuse
she
me.
was giving this speech, I was thinking Unrivaled because as she's giving this speech, they're still going on with their rollout with their stars, business as usual on social media. We're seeing who's headed to Miami. There's an alternative. Being a co-founder of Unrivaled, that's what I meant by the power that Nafisa has as a businesswoman. Like she has built a model alongside of Brianna Stewart, investing them in the players, hearing them out, building something for players by players. When you put the players first, you can see what that has been able to be as far as return of investment.
Mhm.
And when you provide the human element to it, when you provide daycares or things for mothers or just anything in general that concerns the athlete, putting their product out there, but you have
Mhm.
to take care of the person first. We've seen what those resources have done. I've seen a lot of chatter on social media about potential lockouts, not directly from the players, but it's from the fans having concerns. Like, if it gets to this point, the league could be in danger, but there are alternatives. And Fee has created a model already that we've seen that's been very successful. So it's hard to tell players it's not possible when they see it already possible in a first year league.
We do not want to see the WNBA not have a season, not
No.
folding, or whatever the words are, locked out. None of that. None of that. That's
Mhm.
not even good for Unrivaled, actually. So that's not what we're promoting. But it's just in the back of their minds. They
Mhm.
have time because they have another league that actually pays them. Treats them in a way that they want to be treated, and it's a model that you actually want the WNBA
Mhm.
to model itself after. So
Yeah.
just know and be clear, the WNBA is something that is near and dear to all of our hearts,
Mhm.
that we never want to see in jeopardy, and that it does none of us any good for it to go away.
Right.
Listen, we could talk about this all day. We could talk about the support that Fees receive from the other players, which I thought was outstanding, because that's a house that needs to support one another. The players are doing a really good job in doing that.
Mhm.
So when you think about the officiating, which has been something else that has really been, at the forefront. The way Napheesa Collier got hurt, which easily every time you see that replay, it's like, oh my God, like she just got ran over by
Yeah.
the engine, which, Alyssa Thomas, I'm sure, with no intent. It happened so fast, like nobody could have
Right.
seen that. Every time you see it, it was so fast, but it was
Mhm.
also such a foul, right? Such a like takeout of her leg, kind of literally,
Mhm.
and no foul called. But talking about these officials time and time, year and year after, and the fact that these officials actually train in the G League usually, then come into the WNBA or then the NBA. And their goal is always, almost always, is to get to the NBA. So the stepping stone of the G League and the WNBA become sort of this pass by practice place to get some reps, get some experience. But it's not the end all be all for them.
Mhm.
And I guess my thought is always, uh, how can we collectively do something to help move this forward when it comes to the officiating? Because we all see that it's bad. We all see that both teams at times are getting bad calls, and then sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's missed calls. But what's the fix on that? Do you ever think about what the WNBA could do to help fix officiating?
Yeah, this season alone, I've been thinking about it constantly because this has been a constant issue that we've seen throughout the course of the regular season, now here in the playoffs, when games just mean even more. Three things in particular stick out to me the most. One is hiring more experienced refs. The league has to prioritize quality at the end of the day. And you said it, with the proper and better training. I saw a tweet from Mark Cuban mentioning how refs are trained in the G League, but if there's no investment in their development at that level,
Mhm.
then how are you supposed to excel once
Yeah.
they're promoted to the WNBA and the NBA? Like, the pipeline itself needs to be fixed. I think
Mhm.
that's the first things first. And that just goes back to hiring more experienced refs, and then transparency with teams. Like, that's something with Napheesa Collier. She mentioned during her exit speech of how they're sending the film, they're sending all the notes and the feedback, but what's getting done with them? How are they
Mhm.
getting addressed? Is there accountability? Are there explanations? Is there open dialogue? I want to know more of the transparent piece of that, because I think the league does owe that to them to understand where these files are coming from, how they're being came up with, and why aren't they being addressed. So it it comes down to one, just trying to make sure the pipeline's better. But I think in general, it starts from the league as a whole trying to make sure that the resources are in place for these refs.
Yeah, when I think about the officials, a few things come to mind. A lot of times when you think about NBA officials, we've seen them for so many years. Like we start to
Mhm.
know their names.
Mhm.
You understand what tenure they're in. Like, oh, he's a senior official or he's a lead official or the playoff officials. players know who they are. They start to get a good feel for who's out on the floor, right? And
Yeah.
I feel like in the WNBA, the turnover is so, I mean, it's very quick. It's often a revolving door. There's new officials all the time. Maybe two or three that you remember that I remember from when I played that are still out there. But the
Mhm.
majority of the officials that I played with or that officiated when I played are NBA officials that I see, which is interesting. But the other thing to me that is lost in this is tendencies and player tendencies. Because if you're not familiar with the WNBA and their players, you might be familiar with the rules, but you're not familiar enough with the players. You might
That's
not be
good.
familiar that Asia Wilson can jump up, she
Mhm.
can break the plane and still block a shot and not touch the other person. But if
Yeah.
you're not familiar with that and you're going with this whole, oh, she broke her plane and it's automatically a foul, but then you look at it in slow motion and she never touched the person, that's
Mhm.
because you're not familiar enough with that player and their tendencies. You have to know that Chelsea Gray will steal a ball from almost anybody, baby. If you bring that ball anywhere down, it's
Right.
gone because she should be called hands. She's the point guard, but she should be called hands. People don't know that, but if you don't pay attention to tendencies, those are
Yeah.
calls. You can't give Chelsea
That's
Gray that
true.
foul down there because she's going to get that ball clean almost 9 out of 10 times. When she doesn't, she will hand you the ball like you right, I got him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's like if you're not familiar with individuals and their tendencies, who pushes off, Aaliyah Boston hooking. If you're not familiar with that, you can't communicate from the baseline and say, hey, Aaliyah, let her go. You keep
Mhm.
hooking her, I'm gonna have to give you a foul. See, the refs and officials that we had at times would talk to us. Lisa, you got to stop doing this. I need you to stop. I'm watching you. I'm trying to help you out because
Right.
we had relationships. You understood the officials, who it was, what their name was. Let's everybody, when we huddle, have a good game because we're all on display here. Even
Mhm.
though, yes, you're opposite teams, but we're on display to put on a good show. And the officials are not there to be a part of the show. They just want to manage what's happening. If the play gets physical, sometimes you might need to stop and say, hey, ladies, let's bring it in. The game is getting physical. Now, y'all want to play physical or you want us to call it time? Like, what do you want to do here? Because as it starts to escalate, they have to de-escalate stuff. And sometimes they don't. And it just continues to grow. And then you get this physical play that's just out of hand. And we feel like you're overseas playing, which is a totally different game. Because when you're overseas, only the people who have the ball really get calls. Everybody else is fighting,
Right.
when you're in Europe. But then you don't want college basketball because college basketball is a little bit too ticky tack, a little bit too, you can't play enough. And so, in order to have officiating that's fair across the board, officials have to be committed to the WNBA and they have to be familiar with the
Mm.
tendencies of the players to be able to officiate better. Just can't come
I
walking
love
into
that.
this league with these basic rules about how basketball is officiated
Yeah.
and then just start giving out fouls or not giving out fouls, and
Yep.
trust me, officiating is a very tough job. And I believe that every official wants to do a great, I have families, people in my family who are officials. So they want to do a great job. Nobody's not trying to, and we get that. But
Mhm.
become more familiar with your product and understanding players' tendencies, I think would definitely help officiating in the WNBA. And obviously money. Maybe they have to be paid more to stay longer. I don't know. But something's got to be addressed. And Kathy should have, again, out of all of that, you don't respond. Well, only the team who's losing is mad.
Yeah, that's tough to hear for sure. Like I even
What?
hear a lot of players too say like they do go up to the refs and they're saying like that's not my job. That's your only job. So that's a problem as
Yeah,
well.
for
Even
sure.
throughout these playoffs, you've seen a lot of fans saying, or even just in general, talking about the physicality. I think sometimes people bring up like, oh, she's a dirty player. No, she's competing. She's playing hard.
Mhm.
She's being physical because like she embodies that contact. And players are always going to, yes, test the limits to see like what the officials are going to allow. But I think there's a difference with physicality and being a dirty player. Like at the end of the day, the refs are responsible of the tone of the game. And
Mhm.
if the officials don't establish and maintain that consistency
Mhm.
and that standard, the lines get blurred in a sense.
And they don't give out warnings anymore either. Warnings? Like
Yes.
you can get
Yeah.
a warning like, hey,
Right.
hey, your elbow's up too high. That's a warning. I'm letting you know right
Yep.
now. We used to have officials would talk
That's
to us
very
and you'd be like,
true.
thank you. I appreciate it. I
Like,
appreciate it because I
heard
need
you.
all 6 of my
I'll
files.
I'll put my elbows away. Got you. Heard you. Yeah, no. And is it going to be ticky tacky fouls or are we going to be able to play with each other a little bit, like physically, like how will we be able to maneuver throughout this game? It's hard to
Yes.
put you in an uncomfortable position. It's just hard to maneuver, but all they're asking for is consistency at the end of the day.
I love that. How disappointing were you about the how the Lynx season ended
Yeah, it's
under
hard.
this whole like officiating pretense?
It was tough to see because we saw something similar last year. Like, this
Hmm.
isn't the first time. Like, last year's game 5 came down to some fouls with Elena Smith and the Lynx, and it happens all over again here throughout the course of this playoff series. We saw Cheryl Reeve got ejected and suspended for the next game, which was critical. 15K I thought was ridiculous in my opinion. Um, but I saw when she stormed the ref, like just anger, like, oh no, this is happening
Hmm.
again. This we've
Hmm.
been here before, not this time. She felt like that title was snatched from her by fouls away from a championship. Here we
Yeah.
go again. I'm gonna fight for my players. I see my star player down in pain. Like again, it goes down to the inconsistency that we're seeing. And
Yeah.
for me, it was the number one team. Everyone thought they were going to take it all. It was the Minnesota Lynx for them to lose. Like at the end of the day, they had the big target on their back, even not being the defending champs. But
Yeah.
it's tough to see, and I hope this team stays together. They have great continuity, connectivity, their cuts, how they move without the basketball. Kayla McBride, it was hard to see her have such a phenomenal game and
Ooh,
just
31
end up
points.
short. Like I really hate that. And for Napheesa Collier to sit out and not be able to help her team,
Mhm.
I felt bad for Dejanay Carrington as well. She could have been a huge piece to what they do defensively,
Yeah.
possibly guarding Ka. You never know what that could have looked like with Dejanay in the mix. So it was
Yeah.
really tough to see them bitten by the injury bug.
Yeah, for sure. I was definitely heartbroken for Feet first off. Just that whole
Mhm.
injury could have been even worse, but it looked so bad. I was just like, oh my God, not
The
right
way
now.
her ankle rolled, you
Oh
knew.
my
You
God.
knew.
Knee,
Yeah.
ankle, I wasn't sure what was hurt on her, but you knew it was like a shock.
Mhm.
Anyways, that was just like, oh, the timing of that. But it's so
Yeah.
interesting because I think all season long I've been sort of not all season. I'd say probably when the Aces turned it around, I was like, okay, my top teams I said were Minnesota, the Aces, not in
Mhm.
this order necessarily,
Yeah.
Atlanta,
Mhm.
and
Same.
Phoenix. So those are my 4 teams where I was like, ooh, I don't know. Y'all
Mhm.
better watch out for Phoenix. Y'all better watch out for Atlanta. But the Fever, baby, the Fever is like, talk about
They said,
nine
"Hold up."
lives.
Right.
Those women, I mean, you got to give them so much credit. First, starting out with Stephanie White, because she
Oh my
coaches them
goodness.
and she's found a way to motivate them and inspire them to give their all, baby. And I love the fact that they were like a never say die team, no
Mhm.
matter who was up. You got to give so much. I mean, flowers to Lexi Ho, because Lexi, I watched Lexi
Game
from
changer.
last season to Unrivaled to this
Mhm.
season, and it may not, her ball don't always go in. I get that. But when she, she makes her threes, but just the fire and the fight that she plays with on both ends and in every play, it was the same thing. Jewel Lloyd, I thought, played and
Mhm.
matched Lexi's energy this last game for game 5. But Lexi Hull, I mean, she needs some flowers. And
Mhm.
then Kelsey Mitchell with the like, I can't even believe she had this cramping the way she had it. And God, hopefully nothing else is wrong. I don't know. But
Mhm.
I'm saying just watching and the way she carried Indiana and even getting into like the MVP chase and the race, like all of this was so amazing. But Kelsey Mitchell is next level. She is amazing. She's going to be playing an Unrivaled.
I felt so bad though.
Oh,
Like the way she put this team on her back all season long and
yeah.
not to be able to finish the game. Aaliyah Boston was in foul trouble as well. Like this was a team that just had a lot of fight in them, like the resilience. Even when Kelsey Mitchell went out and when Aaliyah Boston went on the bench, you can never count this team out. Every single
Mhm.
time we're like, okay, That's it. That's all they got.
Come
They
on,
keep
Odyssey Sims.
going.
Give Odyssey Sims her love too, because Odyssey
Right?
been moved around quite a
Took
bit.
over.
A scoring point guard sometimes is tough because you want a point guard that like distributes first, maybe get it back, take a few shots. Obviously, you see Chelsea Gray,
Yep.
she's that style of point guard. But Odyssey Sims is a baller, baby. She put the ball in the basket.
She
And when I
needs a
tell you,
full
having this
contract.
opportunity on the Fever right now, I hope she gets a real contract where she can secure a job because she deserves it. And I think even as she matures with her game, she'll learn to pick and choose her times. And she has some
Yeah.
superstars and make sure she's distributing the ball. But if you need a bucket, call on Odyssey Sims. I was happy for her.
Me too.
Aaliyah Boston. Leah's like that baby that you just like, she is just blossoming and growing up right before our eyes. We forget Aaliyah Boston is only in her third year, people.
Exactly.
Third season. And when I tell you she was giving Asia everything she had, I love that matchup because, they're not besties, but they from the same tribe, South Carolina. Yes. But I love how Aaliyah Boston battled. She didn't back down. That baby was setting picks. She was rolling. She was scoring. She was hitting the backdoor cutter. Everything you needed from her, she gave. And I really love that. So anyways, I'm trying to give the Fever some love because I believe they deserve it. When you think about all the players sitting on the sideline injured and still found themselves 1 or 2 points away from getting to a championship round of basketball, hats off to the Indiana Fever. Like, seriously.
All the praise, all the flowers. Even when we started off during the preseason and they got all these offseason trades, we were like, okay, the Fever can make some noise here. They got a lot of veteran pieces. That's something they lacked. And now coming in with this experience, they could make a finals push. It has looked completely different. Yeah. The iteration that we've seen here in the semis, it's a whole different iteration of the Fever. And I love that everyone stepped up to the challenge no matter what, no matter the adversity, they responded. And that's what winning teams do. They find different ways to win, no matter what it looks like, how it looks like, and where it comes from. We saw that from player 1 through 5 on the bench. It didn't matter. And shout out to Stephanie White too for just bringing on the right personnel every single time to plug and play. Like these are veterans, these are champions, and you knew the right pieces to put. It's just tough to see them go out like that. But you got to just tip your hat to them. They were incredible all season.
This episode of Between the Lines with Lisa Leslie is brought to you by State Street and SPY, the official ETF partner of the WNBA and investors everywhere.
Invest in your future with SPY, the original S&P 500 ETF from State Street. Before investing, consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Visit statestreet.com/IM for prospectus containing this and other information. Read it carefully. SPY is subject to risks similar to those of stocks. All ETFs are subject to risk, including possible loss of principal. ALPS Distributors, Inc. Distributor.
Last but not least, the Aces.
Yes.
Because the Aces is a story this year in a way that we've never seen in 2 ways. One, the fact that they was just August 2nd, like out the playoffs, and then just rolled out 14, 15 wins straight. They lost 1, I know, before they went into the playoffs, but just the team that like didn't give up on each other, the pieces that have come together. Asia Wilson, we can't praise enough, but I also don't want to not praise her because what happens is I remember when you're the top player, it's like everybody else, but because you know that she's good. No, Asia, come on. She need a whole bouquet. We just going to send a bouquet. We ain't sending just flowers. We're going to send a whole bouquet to Asia Wilson and what she's been able to do in her 4th MVP season and just being dominant. Both ends, the shot blocking, the rebounding, the taking it up the floor, the attacking the basket, left hand, right hand, the baseline, the spin move, like all of the things.
Literally.
Excellence, just excellent. So, chef's kiss first off to Asia Wilson. But I think secondly, Jackie Young. Come on, Jackie. Jackie Young is like the rebirth of Ruthie Bolton. If anybody got any basketball history, Ruthie Bolton played for the USA 1996 U.S. Olympic team. Also played for the Sacramento Monarchs, but was a bucket, a defender, one of the best two-way players, one of the strongest players we've ever had in the WNBA. And I feel like that's who Jackie Young is, just a little bit smaller maybe, but she is just Jackie needs to shoot even more. Like every time she shoots, you think it's going in. And I feel like she doesn't really take enough shots. I feel like her and
Mm.
Asia could do a pick and roll. Hey, Becky, I'm not trying to teach you how
Yes.
to coach, but I just feel like a 2-man game with those two is like pick your poison people because
Right.
they remind me of like Mawadi Mabika and myself. Like you,
Mm.
which one you want? Because you can't stop either one of those. That 3-pointer, the drive to the basket, the post play, like just excellent. And then Chelsea Gray, the point guard, when she says, now listen, we haven't said her name a lot this season.
No.
I think for as much as we've covered and watched, you haven't heard Chelsea's name as much. But Chelsea, when you have a solid point guard, oh, what a difference maker it is. A playmaker that is so unselfish that makes everybody around her better, but is always like, I got your back if you
Yep.
need me. I got a point. I got a bucket or two for you when you need me. And in overtime, it was all
8
point
points.
guard Chelsea
8
Gray.
points in
Wasn't that
overtime.
exciting?
It was. And that's the key to it all. Yes, Asia Wilson, she's going to get 30. She's going to get 35 in this case. Like she does what she does. Third quarter was all Asia Wilson's. And then you see when the guards are able to have that supporting cast around her, Jackie Young was consistent throughout the entire game. I was writing down her stats. She had 32 points. In the first quarter, 7 points. Second quarter, 5 points. Third quarter, 9 points. Fourth quarter, 7 points, and then in overtime, 4 points. Like she provided scoring when needed, and she was so aggressive getting to her spots. But the thing that stood out to me the most was 10 assists and 0 turnovers.
Come on.
Like, come on, Jackie. Talk about an overall performance to help your team when they needed it the most. I thought on that last play to take it into, well, try to not get into overtime, I thought Jackie Young was going to get a touch to Asia Wilson, but they decided to go with Jackie. Right. But no matter what, it doesn't matter. There's so many things that led up to that point. Overtime happened. It's fine. The Fever are hard to put away, but I thought she was the consistent go-to glue piece for this team.
Yeah, it was outstanding to watch. And when you just talk about, I just think about the performances. Like if we look back, just amazing performances, as you just mentioned with Asia Wilson, with Jackie Young, even Alyssa Thomas. Now, here's the thing where you know Alyssa Thomas is a bad girl because most teams would tell their player when they're close to a triple double, right? Most teams. And I mean, people act like they don't do this, but everybody kind of knows if you like, you need one more rebound, you need one more assist. You need people do that all the time. I mean, people might deny it, but people do have staff that tell you you need to go back out there and get one more rebound for it to be a double-double, whatever. Alyssa Thomas, game 1, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. Nobody's telling her anything. This is just her game. Because if they were, she would finish off all of that and have a triple-double every single time. But they don't tell her. So she just plays the game. She probably is like, I don't want to know. Let me do my thing. Game 2, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 13 assists. When I tell you Phoenix understands their assignment and who Alyssa Thomas is and how she's the facilitator on this team, I mean, the outlets, you see the guards get the outlet and give it to Alyssa. Like, she's starting the offense. She's deciding which direction the offense is going to flow. She's telling people to get out. Like, she really is a point forward. Like, game 3, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists.
Crazy.
Game 4, 23 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists. Like she's always just 1 or 2 numbers off the triple double that nobody on the bench is going, all you need is one more.
Just like,
you know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if I had even been thinking about triple doubles, I would be every time clocking and looking like, what I need. I mean, when we get to the fourth quarter, I ain't going to lie to y'all. I feel like what I need. I need one more rebound. I need 2 assists. Say less. Like, I'm going to go get it. She could really average a triple-double throughout the whole season. And I think that's what she's going to need to do to get an MVP award. But that's hard to do. It probably is. But I'm just telling you now, listen, just tell somebody to tell you to get you one more board, baby.
Just give me a look.
Go ahead and make it happen.
Right. A look or something, a signal.
There's no reason for her not to know.
No, she's a walking triple double. She's tough. I love watching her this season. I'm excited for this Asia AT battle we're gonna get. So that's gonna be very interesting. But I want Alyssa Thomas to get more flowers, more credit, more just respect for what she brings every single night.
You know what else is cool? Let me tell you this, Autumn. Now, remember, Asia didn't play in the Unrivaled,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
She didn't play in Unrivaled. Alyssa Thomas did, which also I think opened up Alyssa Thomas' game for her to even be a point forward. Do you think Asia's going to guard Alyssa Thomas all the way full court coming up? Be that five player who's, up guarding her while she's facilitating? Or do you take
Ooh.
Nalissa Smith and say, okay,
Mm.
Nalissa, who may be comfortable, maybe more comfortable, maybe not? Or do you just say,
Mm.
Alyssa Thomas is not really a post at all? And do
Mhm.
you put a stronger player, but
Mhm.
smaller, like a Jackie Young?
Ooh. That's a great question because for Jackie Young, I also can see her guarding Kalia Copper, but you also have Jewel Lloyd who can run her down too. So it might have to be by committee. I think you could see different looks being thrown at Alyssa Thomas.
Mhm.
You can have length using Asia Wilson. You can have a smaller post who has like more kind of like the same stature in a sense like an Alyssa Thomas. You can see a quicker guard who's bigger also, who has that same frame as well, strong frame that Jackie Young brings. So I really think it's defense by committee trying to
Mhm.
slow down Alyssa Thomas because she is at the point of attack. She is the one bringing up the ball to the court. You have to keep Alyssa Thomas out the middle of the court because that's how she manipulates the offense. She gets downhill, she's going to hit you with a spin move, take it herself, or she's going to hit a cutter. She can do so many different things. So that's going to be key for the Aces period is locking down AT defensively.
They're giving some problems because now who's guarding Satu? You got to look at the other way because again,
Yes.
if I'm playing devil's advocate, it's like, who's guarding Asia?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you going to put on Asia? Are you going to put, is Alyssa Thomas going to guard Asia? Because again, I'm going with my shimmy, shoot over the
Yep.
top. Asia is a
Fade
real
away.
6'5".
Yep.
But then, it's just the matchups that I really love, the puzzle pieces of this coaching that has been outstanding, by the way. It's been outstanding chess match.
Yes.
I thought that Stephanie White in her movements against Becky Hammond, they found ways and pieces, like the chess match was chef's kiss again. So it's going to be interesting to see how these coaches make adjustments.
And you know what? They got 7 games to do it.
Yes. Oh, yeah,
Possibly.
7 games. So let me
Possibly.
just break it down real quick. It's time for our State Street segment. So we want to know, how did Phoenix get here?
Mm-hmm.
This episode of Between the Lines is brought to you by State Street Investment Management and SPY. State Street knows that getting there starts here. This is what I love about this. Today, we're going to talk about how the Phoenix Mercury arrived at this moment at the WNBA Finals. Now, if you guys remember last year, big names, the Diana Taurasi, shout out to Diana because I love Diana, Natasha Cloud, who I also love,
Yes.
New York's out. Monique Billings, who an outstanding player. Sophia Cunningham, who obviously we know went to Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany Griner was in Atlanta. Rebecca Allen, Kalia Copper, who's still there, and Natasha Mack. This year, you look at 2025, 2 players, only 2 players left in Phoenix. Coach Nate Tibbetts, who's in his 2nd year, I believe, right?
Yes.
And the Mercury basically had just hit a refresh button. You go out and you get by trade Satu Sabli and Alyssa Thomas, which is forming a new core.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Satu, which I just love the way Satu's coming into her own,
Yes.
not overdoing it, but an Alyssa Thomas, who's that backup player who always got your back, go fight, go be physical because I got you. And then Kalia Copper. So I think the 3 of them, great. You also think about Sammy Whitcomb, who was a free agent who could shoot lights out. Perfect fit for a coach who wants the 3-point 3 ball, put up quite a bit. And Sammy can do that. But then I also love, somehow they have DeWanna Bonner.
Yes.
Who has the most playoff experience.
Talk about it.
The last player I think left that I ever played against in the WNBA. I don't know. Maybe she was a rookie my last year. I don't know.
Gosh. But we got to look that up.
Yeah, DeWanna's been out there forever. And DeWanna's been shooting from the logo. Let me just say this.
Yes.
Forever. That people don't even know about. I think my husband was like, I didn't know DeWanna Bonner could shoot. I'm like, babe, DeWanna Bonner has always shot from logo range, like always. So
My first
I,
game was Dream Mercury. So I saw it literally
yeah,
in
people
person. That
are
was my
new
first
though.
game.
They
Yeah.
don't know. So they're
Back in
like, oh
08.
my God,
Mm-hmm.
she's shooting from so far out.
Been
I'm
doing
like,
this.
she came in here. If you go back to a rookie tape, DeWanna
Yep.
Bonner was shooting from way out, long time ago. So the fact that she hit such big shots in that moment
Yeah.
was so great for Phoenix. But how they got here is putting together this new core,
Mm.
really relying on their defense, strong, solid defense. Satu was actually on in between the lines earlier in the season when Kalia Copper was hurt, as well as actually AT was hurt also. And you know what Satu said? She said, "You guys, we have the least amount of TV games. Nobody's paying attention to us. We have excellent chemistry, and when our big three is all together, we have a chance to win a championship." She said that. Now that was early. I think we were early July,
Okay.
but or June even, and she saw that the possibility of them winning a championship was real. So when you think about the challenges of having injuries, them coming back, putting it all together, listen, let me just tell you, the Phoenix
Belief.
Mercury, yeah,
They knew. They knew
they
before we knew.
they knew
Okay.
exactly who they were and very excited to be here in one of the teams that I picked early. So let me ask you, do you remember what you thought maybe when you saw
Yes.
this Phoenix team put together?
I feel silly even like saying it because honestly, I just had to see it. It looked great on paper, but I was like, okay, what does the chemistry look like? You're
Mhm.
only returning two players and the experience as well, like outside of the big three.
Mhm.
When we look at successful teams who they've all taken down, they've all had chemistry, they've all come back for a second or third or fourth year together. When you think about Minnesota, when you think about the Liberty, it's interesting how it's clicked immediately. And at one point, they were gunning for the number 2 spot in the WNBA, but then injuries happen.
Mhm.
So I was very curious of, who produces outside of the big three, who's the attack off the bench, and none of that even mattered. Like
Yeah.
the Phoenix, I saw a stat, they're going to be the first ever team to reach 2 finals in 5 years with no overlapping players. So that's
Wow.
incredible. Their success has been fueled by one, the defense you said, that positionless play, like anywhere you put them, they can be successful, lethal 3-point shooting, and just complete buy-in. Like shout out to Nate Tibbetts as well, just his second year.
Mhm.
When you look at what makes this team go, it's just the right pieces, bringing the right pieces in, pieces that complement the explosiveness of Kyle Copper. I think that's truly what changed the trajectory of their season, is when they could get her back healthy. And
Mm.
now they've been able to ride this wave with their big three connecting, their 3-point shooters, Sammy Whitcomb, like all these dominant pieces. And everyone knowing what they can do on the floor, like no matter what's going wrong, if it's going left or right, they're
Mhm.
staying locked in with each other. And I think that's so special. They have like this don't pick us mentality, and it's turned into a whole championship run. I love it.
Ooh, it's going to be tough when you look at what they've been able to put together, having international players added
Yep.
as well, and then the chemistry that they've built, the coaching being right, and the women buying into it.
Mhm.
Another thing I thought was interesting is that if you notice, they're a very physical team that
Yeah.
doesn't complain to the officials at all. Like
Mm.
they don't say much. They just keep playing. They pick each other up. AT
They
is
like
one of
that.
those physical players where it's like, listen, I'm initiating a whole lot of physicality out here. So
Yeah.
y'all keep it down. The more
Right.
they allow us to play physical, it actually helps a team like Phoenix. Do you
That's a
think
good
that
point.
that physicality will have an effect on the Las Vegas Aces?
I think we saw a little bit of it even in the post with Asia and AB, like how Asia was able to adjust no matter what. The fadeaway, how she's able to put the ball on the deck, step back, whatever you need, Asia's
Mhm.
going to bring it to you. So I think this is a veteran team that knows how to adjust. I don't think physicality is going to play a factor into this one because they should know, and they've experienced this throughout the course of the regular season,
Mhm.
coming in with that winning streak, and then now here in the playoffs. So I'm interested to see those matchups and what we were talking about earlier, how they match up exactly. But
Mhm.
right now, when you look at the regular season, the Aces have the Mercury's number. They're 3-1 against them. And I was looking at
Mhm.
that last game. It was actually the Aces who were the enforcers. They were able to force so many turnovers for the Mercury, 21 points off turnovers, 14 overall, while the Aces only had 6. And I know this was back in August
Early.
21st. Yeah,
Mhm.
which is like, you can look at that, but if they can have that model and try to make sure they are being the enforcers rather
Mhm.
than allowing them to push them around. Asia had 19, again with the guard play of Chelsea, Jackie, and Dana Evans was
Mhm.
massive. That was the common theme for each matchup. Even August 15th, when the Aces won, yes, it was a while ago, but 22 for 26 from the charity stripe. So
Yeah.
again, trying to embrace that physicality and make it work against the Mercury at the end
Yeah.
of the day. Try to get to
Yeah.
the free throw line.
Oh, good point. And I also look at the Mercury of just how the GM put this team together when you see like the combination of these veterans and having international players. Do you think that other GMs are looking at how they built this team and maybe wanting to mimic that, if you will?
That's a good point because I mean, it's working. The Valkyries, we've seen that.
Hmm.
And if we look into what Natalie Nakase was able to do, it was bringing the right pieces at the end of the
Hmm.
day and having a system that they bought into. And that's the same thing we're seeing here for the Phoenix Mercury. The
Yeah.
complete buy in. Everyone knows what they're doing. The defensive rotations are crisp. If they're put into a specific position, they're able to thrive, and it
Hmm.
doesn't matter at the end of the day because they are so comfortable in what they are being presented every single day. There's no question about it. And I think that just attributes back to Nate Tibbetts, what he's been able to create in just a short amount of time. So I
Yeah.
think if you are a new team coming in or just a team period with all this free agency, I don't really think necessarily the big names, yes, star players are going to win you games, but also
Hmm.
you need those key role players. You need players that are going to buy into your system and
Hmm.
create an identity that you're trying to go after.
Yeah. Okay, so you just mentioned it, free agency. Almost the entire league will be going into free
I
agency. Do
know.
you
It's
think
crazy.
Phoenix should really work to keep this Mercury team together?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially since it clicked right away in the first year. Please don't break them up. I love it. I love Satu. I love Ka and I love AT all together. Natasha Mack also, she's
Yeah.
surprised me, not even surprised, but she just had a breakout season. Like I'm excited to see her development alongside this core. I'm excited to see maybe if they get one more piece. And if they take it all the way, what a poetic story for Dwana Bonner too to come back where
Oh.
she's already won 2 championships with this franchise, to come back after the season that she's had. You
Mhm.
know, she's a legend in her own right of this game, and I love seeing legends get their flowers. Like
Yeah.
how things panned out in midseason. I I need everyone to understand and put respect on her name.
I know. I guess one day we'll hear that full story, but as of right
Yeah.
now, we don't know. But Dwana Bonner is back home at the Mercury, and
Yes.
after those huge 3 pointers, I'm sure they are so happy to have her as they get ready to for the finals. So when
Mhm.
we look at this Mercury team, we know that it is proven mix of stars, both international as well as some of these rising stars and leaders. Having AT leading the way with Satu Sabli, Kalia Copper, such an
Mhm.
amazing group. They're smart, and I think they've done this sort of with this out of the box signing, having these different players that together the chemistry is spot on,
Yeah.
and we'll see if they can win the championship.
We'll see.
But this is truly the foundation of why the 2025 finals run for the Mercury has been amazing. And this is how they got here. So before we finish up, we talked about how this matchup with when you look at Phoenix and Vegas, that 3-1, that Phoenix has won. We talked about those were close games. Aces won 85-84, Phoenix won 76-70,
Mhm.
Aces won 84-81, and then Aces won 86-83. So close games. But when you look at these matchups, who would you say is the X factor for you, Autumn? Like this
Mm.
player for Phoenix or this player for Vegas or both really need to do well in order for that team to win.
For the Aces first, I'll start with them. Obviously, Asia Wilson's going to get hers, but when you speak about X factors, you have to have Nalissa Smith at the forefront of that conversation because I think of the battle with the Alyssa Thomas and how whatever that matchup looks like, just creating space overall for each other when you're working alongside Asia Wilson's going to be very key. I love their high-low action that they run. Asia sometimes at the top of the key, she hits Nalissa down low. I think it's going to be really important to get Nalissa more touches. So excited to see what she brings offensively and defensively.
Mm-hmm.
And Jewel Lloyd, also for the Aces, she had some timely buckets to close out this series versus the Fever.
Mm-hmm.
And just a couple of seasons ago, she led the league in scoring. Like, we know that gold mamba mentality that she possesses and what she can do offensively for the team. Even defensively, I think she's been able to make her impact there. But overall, I want to see those two really get going, because when the guard play especially is able to run alongside Asia Wilson, this team is very unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
For the Mercury, Sammy Wickham, I don't think enough people talk about her. Uh, Again, for the comebacks that we've been able to see throughout these series, she's been able to hit some big time buckets. Even when I'm looking at these past games when they've faced the Aces, she has always been that key consistent piece off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And again, with Dewana Bonner, like I was looking at her stats throughout this series, and it hasn't been the best shooting nights for her throughout the course of playing the New York Liberty, also earlier the Minnesota Lynx, but she's been able to be 3 for 4 in the past game to help them have that edge,
Mm-hmm.
and 0 for 9 before that. So I want to see more from her offensively, and I know she can do that. She has that playoff experience,
Mm-hmm.
nearly 95 games in playoff experience. She's a 16-year vet. She knows what it takes to be in these moments. So for me, it comes down to those two players on each side.
Mm-hmm. For me, I look at Vegas and I go, Asia Wilson, Jackie Young, buckets. Melissa Smith and Chelsea Gray. Chelsea is a player who she's so unselfish and she gets everybody involved, but sometimes she has that will to want to win. And that is so contagious that I want her to start out with that.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you're facilitating and getting everybody going, but she got to take advantage of McConney, the rookie, and she's going to have to will her way and will her team. And then again, I do agree with you. Nalissa Smith needs to be that other scorer, whether it's getting that second chance opportunity, that rebounding, staying active so that Asia can also operate possibly one-on-one, whether that's that post up and flashing or moving well without the ball. Those are going to be key for Las Vegas, obviously offensively, to be successful. I think defensively, Nalissa's going to have to show up big defensively, because somebody's got to slow down Satu, who can actually do everything. Satu can post up, she can face up, she can shoot the 3 ball, she can shoot runners, she can bring the ball up. So that versatility is really something that Nalissa Smith's going to have to match, or Satu's going to go off. But when you flip it over to Phoenix, Satu needs to go off. Like, Satu's got to look at it like, I played in Rival. I can do all of these things. Yes, I'm the unicorn. She just needs to start inside out. That's just a preference for me. Yeah. I just believe when you just start firing from 3 first, if you don't hit those first 2 or 3, sometimes your whole game can be off for quarters, as opposed to getting inside and really, finding some closer, easier buckets. But I think Satu really needs to go off offensively and defensively. I love that they have, this defense that they can switch, they can guard anybody because they have so much versatility. And I think the other person is Collier Copper. Yes, I think the point guard is going to be important for McConney to be able to take her and hit her shots when they're open. But Collier Copper got to be that girl. Like, she has to keep putting pressure on that defense, her ability to drive and get to the basket, get to the rim, get some fouls, draw some fouls, but also be ready to spot up and take the 3 and take a page out of Paige Bucket's book and get to that mid-range game. Like, Kai got enough length on her to really let her mid-range game be a bucket. Like, just take those simple points. Don't get in there and let Asia block the shot. Take the pull-up. So I think Kai has really got to be smart offensively. She's an excellent two-way player, so stay out of foul trouble. But listen, you can't tell that we're excited about this matchup because we don't know how it's going to go.
Right.
But
it's going to be a good series.
You know, Auntie Lisa always got her popcorn ready. So I can't wait to watch. I'm so proud of all of these women. The
Yes.
fight, this whole WNBA season has been amazing. And I know the finals won't disappoint. So I just pray everybody can stay healthy
Yeah.
and we can see some amazing games.
Yes. No, same. Retweet on all that. I really enjoy breaking this down with you. I can't wait for the games. It's going to be so much exciting. We get possibly 7 games, so more basketball ahead. I love to see it. Right.
I'll be too excited. 7 games would be crazy.
Insane.
All right, guys, that's it for Between the Lines with Lisa Leslie. I'll catch you guys after game 2. You can find Between the Lines with Lisa Leslie on your YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Between the Lines is part of the Just Women's Sports Network. Follow Just Women's Sports on all your favorite social channels to get all your latest women's sports news. And you can follow me, Lisa Leslie, at Lisa Leslie on IG, X, and TikTok. Between the Lines is produced by Taryn Penna and edited by Chris Plunder.